What's up, y'all? Polo Sports Talk and Entertainment. Here again with another one. Hit that like button, sub to the channel if you're not a member, and also hit the notification so that you're able to get all of my content, all of my videos. Now, last night, the Boston Celtics defeated John Morant and the hot Memphis Grizzlies. But unfortunately, they ran into a better Celtics team. Now, you might wonder why I'm talking about this, and I had to point this out. Now, there's several things that I need to point out. Now, John Morant, man, he's been killing it as of late on the road and everything. However, sometimes, man, it's going to be, you're going to take that L. I felt like Memphis needed to lose this game in order to experience some sort of adversity because you don't want them. I mean, you don't want to get too high as a team. You don't want to get too cocky. And I think that the Memphis Grizzlies are a team that are humble. Now, the interesting point that I want to bring to your attention is, again, I know that the Celtics players, they came out, they played good. Jason Tatum had 37 points. The interesting thing, though, that I do want to point out is Ima Udoka's coaching. Okay, he's been able to adjust to the problems that's going on, and the big problem is Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is there. However, he was able to maneuver and still find a way. That's going to be a key thing for Boston, especially as they go forward, because, as you know, Boston has experienced a lot of adversity. And with them experiencing a lot of adversity and, curveballs that might come their way and everything, they have been known in the past to, come up short. Like, for instance, a prime example of that is last season. They were riddled with injuries, right? They were riddled with injuries. You had a hurt Kemba Walker, you had a hurt Jaylen Brown, and you had a hurt Marcus Smart. And Jason Tatum had to pretty much play it, all by himself. And then the season before that, you had injuries to, you had Kemba. Well, that's last season. Kemba. The season before that, you had Kyrie Irving. He was hurt, and he wasn't quite able to play at the level that he was supposed to. And I think that Boston, in order for Boston to turn the corner, they are going to have to display the type of attitude that, no matter what happens, still got to roll with the punches. Now, I think the big question that people want to know is if I have John Morant still as the MVP. Yeah, I do. I mean, he had 38 points. He had 38 points, and he did what he could. And it wasn't like his points weren't impactful. It wasn't like his points were not impactful. I mean, look, at the end of the day, man, you win some and you lose some. Everybody knows that. But my thing is, with John Morant, one of the reasons why I do have him as an MVP is not just solely based on his play, but his ability to respond to adversity. That's what he does. It's a key thing. We have to understand that John Morant, he's cut from a different cloth. But last night they were able to hold them. Now I'm going to say this too. This is another thing. If we want to really get technical, we want to talk about numbers, things of that nature. They got out rebounded. Memphis Grizzlies got out rebounded, and if Memphis wants to have a chance, whether it be the playoffs or even if they make the finals, if they happen to make the finals, their rebounding is going to have to get a lot better. I know you got Jared Jackson. I know you got a few other guys on there. You even got John Morant that's able to help in there, and get the rebounds and everything. But they lost the rebounding battle and they lost the shooting battle too as well. They were shooting a red hot 42% from the field. Boston was. They were shooting a red hot 42%. I think Memphis only shot like 32% from the field. So that's something to look for. Now, the interesting thing about this though is that Memphis, even though they took this L, they got to realize that they can respond to this by going on a tear again. You got to remember, Memphis hasn't been losing that much, and they're still dangerous on the road. I mean, let's not act like Memphis is, they're trash, on the road or anything like that. No, that's not the case. They just lost while they've been going in every place they've been getting it done, whether it's on the east or the west. It don't matter. But I think this loss is going to humble them. Now, I want to also talk about Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum has displayed great leadership since everything that he's had to deal with. He's had to deal with new coaching philosophy, new personnel to a certain extent, especially when you talk about changes in personnel, the addition of White. He's handled that well. He could have been one of the players to be like, oh man, skip that. No, he still remained humble and still has been able to go out there and do his thing. Because Jason Tatum, as far as the talent, you got to respect Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum can hoop, man. But the thing that has made Jason Tatum even better is the fact that he's giving it on both ends of the floor. Now, I know Jaylen Brown is hurt. I know he's hurt right now. But them two, with the addition to Marcus Smart, they are all in the top 10 in terms of their defense rate, their defensive rate. This is going to be key, and Ama Udoka is he has a gift in his coaching to where he utilized the strategy to say John Morant, he's a great scorer and everything like that. But what about his other weapons? What's up with the True Viking? I see you in the building for you. We're talking about your Celtics. Ima Udoka is very special because he can not only play. And look, this is another thing too. I want people to stop saying this. They keep saying we're in desperate need. They're in desperate need of a point guard, the Celtics are, and all this other stuff. What do you think Peyton Pritchard is? Peyton Pritchard is a great point guard. Peyton Pritchard is an energizer bunny. He's an occasional shot maker, and more importantly, he's also great on the defensive end too. No, something that nobody's talking about. The Celtics are dangerous. All right, and I know, they're saying, well, they're not 1, 2, or 3 in the East. Hey, they're catching up. The Celtics right now are 9-2. They're 9-2 right now over the last 11 games, and they're up. They have just as good as a record. They're tied with the Miami Heat in terms of what they've done over the last several games. So that has to be looked at. And they're playing different. They're even faster in transition than what they've ever been. Listen, this isn't taking anything away from Brad Stevens. I think he's an excellent coach, man. But Brad Stevens' offense was was not balanced with his defense. If that makes any sense, they might have had, they were playing a lot in the half court. A lot of going to Jaylen Brown and Tatum, a lot stuff like that. Now you're seeing that ball starting to move. You're starting to see these guys run in transition, getting up and down the floor. More importantly, they're playing defense. They're doing great on the defensive side of the ball, especially when you talk about you have a lot of energizer buddies on that team. Well, a couple of them right off the hand. You got Robert Williams, and I'm hoping. I told True the King this. Shout out to True the King TV. We have a sub, definitely go sub to channel. I told him if Robert Williams stays healthy, they're going to be dangerous by far. Yes, you need Jaylen Brown, of course. Yes, you need him on defense, of course. You don't want Jaylen Brown to continuously get hurt. That's another thing too. They have to stay healthy. They got to stay healthy. But I believe that Ama Udoka is a great enough coach for him to sustain their level of play, because they could have easily went into this game and been like, you know what, nah, we don't have Jaylen Brown, and they could have took control of the game, knowing how dangerous Ja Morant is. Look, I'm telling you, you don't see it right now, but there's something brewing in Boston right now, and I think it's big. Now, Lou the Ryder also brought up another good point too. Shout out to Lou the Ryder. They could become, to a lesser degree, what the version of the Chicago Bulls were back in the '90s. Where you got three of your main guys, in which two of them are, a mix of offense, primarily offense, and all defense, and then you got another third guy that is just all about defense. But in this case, you could choose several of them. You could choose Marcus Smart. He's an elite 3-and-D guy. You could choose Robert Williams. He can also give you offense. He can move in the pick. He can move out on the perimeter. He's a hustler. He's an energy guy. They got so many weapons on that team that nobody's looking at. And more importantly, these guys, they piped down. Now, earlier in the year, I was critical of a guy like Jason Tatum. And the reason why I was critical of him is because of the fact that he was very inefficient. He had bad shot selection. Very poor shot selection. Very poor shot selection. And I know, there's a lot of people that are thinking that Boston it's going to be the same thing every year, but they've been hit with a lot of adversity. That's one thing that I gotta. I'm not going to give them a full pass, but at the same token, you got to look at stuff like that. And now that they pretty much have all of their horses back, and they seem to be clicking, now they're running through the East. Just straight running through the East. Hold on one second, y'all. Right. Now, Chicago, and now, the Boston are in the top five right now. And yes, they're 8-2. Just like the Heat, they're 8-2 in the last 10 games. I said it was 9-2. I apologize about that. But they're both 8-2. The only other, what's it called, 76ers, we've been on the chair lately, and they're 7-3. And then, the Bucks, they've got they win, but now it's interchangeable now because the top five teams in the East are the Heat, 76ers, the Bulls, the Bucks, and now the Celtics. Remember, the Celtics were way down. I think they were like 9, 10, or 11 or somewhere like that. They were not doing good at the beginning. So you got to give them credit for what they've been doing. Now with Memphis, I look to them to respond to this very well. It happens. Now with Memphis, you got to be careful. The thing that you got to be careful with is a team like Dallas, because Dallas is starting to creep up a little bit. Dallas, Luka, and I'm gonna talk about him in a little bit. Luka has really been playing his ass off ever since the injury had happened to Tim Hardaway Jr. So it's going to be very interesting. I know some people wonder why I'm talking about this, but there's a lot of dynamics that can happen. You see the switches that are happening in the Eastern Conference, and that's because it's so competitive. And my last point, people talk about the Eastern Conference, hasn't been competitive. They can't say that shit this year. They definitely can't say that shit this year because the Eastern Conference is really, really competitive. So y'all let me know what you think, man. Do you think that this loss is gonna impact Memphis, or take an L and move on? And do you think that Boston got a shot? Y'all let me know what you think. Leave your comments, like the video, share, subscribe, hit the notifications. Follow Sports Talk and Entertainment. I'll get at you later.